And no bloody spots.
Several people were and did claim to be hit by debris.
Yeah, I read that.
And this goes to the heart of where the bullets were coming from. There are the following stories. There was debris, and by debris, what I'm saying is when the president was hit in the head, his skull was fractured and fragments were dispersed in various directions. There were presumably fragments of the president's skull found in the front seat of the limousine, in that second seat where John Connolly and his wife Nellie were sitting, as well as in the area around where he was, of course, but also in the policeman. The policeman on the left is named Bobby Hargis. He describes his condition as having been covered in blood and debris. The patrolman behind him, Mr. Martin, that we discussed before, who was a friend of Gene Hill, also said that he was hit by debris. And on the other side, on the right-hand side, was another patrolman whose name was James Cheney, and he also said that he was hit by debris from the shots. All of this is important because we want to know where the shots were coming from. Okay. Did you sense any echo in Dealey Plaza?
No, I didn't. I'm not accustomed to hearing shots.
When this transpired, did you realize at that time that the president was dead?
Oh, no.
No?
No. Just that something had happened to him.
Just something had happened to him?
Yeah.
So from what you had seen, the evidence was not conclusive that he was
True.
dead?
That's true.
Okay. Okay. What happened next?
Gene left me, ran up the side of the hill. We had, in the earlier time when we were standing there, we kept seeing this funny-looking station wagon, Joe's...
Uncle Joe's pawn shop?
Yes, Uncle Joe's pawn shop. And we discussed that, you know, and other things, people we were looking at and watching.
Sure.
But people began to run up the grassy knoll, as it's later known, and she ran off. Well, she had the gel that you have to coat the picture, the Polaroid picture.
There was a fixative you applied to the picture?
Yes.
Okay.
And she had left me, and I'm just standing there, and this gentleman walked up to me, and he says, "Someone's told me that you had taken a picture."
Right.
And I said, "Yes, I did. It's still in the camera." I hadn't even pulled it out of the camera.
Okay.
And I said, "I can't." He said, "Well, we pulled it out, we looked, and it was, you know, you could see what it was, and more important to him than to me at the point." And he said, "Could you come with me? We'll go to the press room."
Okay.
And I said, "No, got to wait on my friend. She's got the gel to coat the picture." And she came immediately then, and he walked us to the sheriff's department where they had a press room. And he was knowing more so what he had in my picture than I did.
We're going to tell everybody, this is a photograph taken by someone else immediately after the assassination, which shows Mary with the gentleman whom she's speaking about, whose name was Jim Featherstone. He was a reporter
For the Dallas Times-Herald.
For the Dallas Times-Herald. Okay. When Jean came back, how long was she gone?
Just minutes. Just, then we walked to the press room, which was just probably a block and a half away from where we were.
Right. In her book, Jean, firstly, in her Warren Commission statements, Jean Hill makes Jim Featherstone out to be a real dangerous guy.
Right.
She says that he appropriated your photo, that he physically took it from you, and that he forced you to accompany him to this press room. Is that correct?
That's not correct.
Did you
He
have
was
any,
a very nice gentleman.
you didn't have ill feelings towards
No,
Jim
I
Featherstone?
did not. Other than, well, later, you know, I thought, he has taken my photo, and
Right.
I had a friend that was in California, and she's calling saying, what's going on? Your picture is all over California on the television. And this was like 30 minutes after this all took place. Well, I thought, man, he has taken my photo
Right.
and done something with it, you know. But I'm thankful at this point because since there's no negatives to a Polaroid, had he not done what he did,
Right.
there would not be a clear copy.
We wouldn't have
clear
this.
negative. There would not have been a negative.
When Jean came back from this minute or two on the grassy knoll, did she apply the fixative to this photograph?
No, we did that in the press room.
In the press room?
Which was
How
just-
long later do you think?
Couple minutes,
Oh,
three.
really? Okay. In this book, Jean Hill tells a completely different story. She says that she did not return to you when you were talking to Jim Featherstone, even though she had told the Warren Commission that. And she said that she was accosted on the grassy knoll by a Secret Service agent who put his hands in her pocket and stole photographs that you had taken. She then tells a long story about her travails during that period, and she says that she did not meet up with you until a long time afterwards.
Didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
We were in the press room. That was an experience.
Yeah.
All of these reporters and all the telephones. She called immediately to someone in Oklahoma City
Did you?
and talked to somebody there
A
in
friend
the
or
government.
relative?
It was
Oh,
an
a government?
yeah,
Oh.
a friend that she had in the government,
I see.
and told them, you know, and this was still minutes after the assassination.
I
Oh,
see.
our president's been shot.
Right. Where is the press room? In what building?
It was in the sheriff's department, in the criminal courts building.
If we go back here to the Dealey Plaza map, it's the criminal courts building.
Right.
So even though it's a criminal courts building, the room is a press room.
They're one set aside just for the
Okay.
newspaper reporters.
As time went on, Jean elaborated, and in her book, she said that she had witnessed smoke coming from a rifle shot on the grassy knoll at the time of the assassination, which got elaborated on when she wrote the book in 1992 to her having seen a man or a shadowy figure with a rifle. Did she, in this period when she came back and you went to the criminal courts building, to the press room, did she mention any of that to you?
No, absolutely not.
She didn't mention any of that at all?
No.
You mentioned Uncle Joe's pawn shop in that,
Yeah.
that wagon. Did you notice anything that in hindsight, now that you've read all the theories and you've had all this time to think about it, did you notice anything in the aftermath of the assassination or earlier that is in your mind now suspicious?
Not in looking at, there was a lot of work done on the picture by a number of people.
Right.
Saying, you know, here's a badge man and here's a shooter, and I have no idea
Right.
other than,
But did you mentioned that you saw this truck that had Uncle Joe's pawn shop.
Yeah.
Some of the other things that people saw, Jean said she saw, immediately after the assassination, a man in a brown coat run from the Texas School Book Depository up towards the grassy knoll, whom she identified a couple of days later as Jack Ruby. Did you see that person?
there were people milling everywhere before And then after the shots, I wasn't looking around for anybody running other than, running because of the commotion that had just happened.
It's understandable.
And when the people could park behind that area, it was a wide open area, no
Right.
buildings or anything.
Right.
And cars could drive by there. It was just
Right.
because of the station wagon was so colorful.
Right. When did you see that station wagon? Was it before or after the?
Oh, before.
It was before, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Okay. Some people saw a green Nash Rambler that they thought was suspicious because they thought that someone who looked like Lee Harvey Oswald got into it. Did you happen to see that?
No, I didn't see anything afterwards other than the confusion of
Right.
all the people crying and going in all directions, and
Right.
we went immediately to the press room.
Okay. Did you notice about 15 minutes prior to the assassination, a man have an epileptic fit and an ambulance had to be called in front of the Texas School Book Depository?
No. I didn't hear a siren or anything, any commotion like that.
Okay. You heard of the babushka lady?
I've heard of the babushka lady,
Okay,
yes.
for those of you, the babushka lady may be a woman named Betty Oliver who came into the area where you were shortly afterwards. I think she may have been over on Main Street, and then as the motorcade turned from Houston into Elm, a number of people came across that way from this direction into the area you were, and one of them might have been the babushka lady. Did you happen to notice her?
No.
Okay. So you're in the criminal courts building, and you know that Gene has called a friend or relative in Oklahoma City to discuss what's happened. Did you call any of your relatives or friends?
Yes, I called my mother-in-law because my son was in school
Yes.
and wanted, to let her know that I was detained
Right.
and
Yeah.
somebody needed to see
Right.
my son at school.
Right. Okay, so you're in the
We're
Criminal
still in the
courts-
press room.
Right.
Yes.
How long were you there?
Probably 20 minutes before, and the picture had not returned to me.
Okay.
And the sheriff came to the door and asked, are you the lady that took the picture? And yes, well, I want the picture. Well, this man has taken my picture somewhere,
Mr. Featherstone.
Mr. Featherstone. I
Okay.
didn't know his name at that point.
Sure.
And he told Mr. Featherstone, you have so many minutes to have the picture here now. You know better.
Uh-huh.
And the picture appeared really quick.
Well, okay. When you left the press room, where did you go?
They had put out an extra on the street, and I wanted that paper.
Yes.
I ran out the door to get the paper on the side street, and about the time I got to the man to buy my paper, somebody grabbed me and he says, "You can't leave." Well, it was also a boy I'd gone to high school with.
Another policeman
He
friend.
was deputy sheriff,
Deputy Sheriff. What was his name?
Billy Wiseman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so I got my paper, we went back in, and he says, "You're going to have to do a deposition."
Right.
And it was a little while later.
So that the paper that you bought already had news of the...
It says, yeah, it was extra. I remember that
Right.
across the top.
Wow. Fast work.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so you went in to give a deposition.
Uh-huh.
Was
yes.
Gene Hill was still with you?